Last week, I took you over the Blue Mountains to visit a beautiful garden called Goryu. It's a Japanese garden where my mate Alan Jackson has created an incredible collection of Japanese maples. Now, the Japanese maples are one of my absolute favourites. This one here in my garden has been there for over 100 years. Now, they do have a reputation for being difficult and hard to grow. Well, I'm about to show you how to grow them in pots that are really quite small. I have to admit, over the last 40 years that I've been going to Japan, I've watched the masters at work. I've learned a lot from them, but I've never actually applied it in my own garden. I've been buying pots for years. I've got a great collection of bonsai pots in the garden shed, but they're all lying empty. Now, for the last couple of years, I thought I've really got to give this a go. Be brave and pot up some grafted Japanese maples into small bonsai pots. And here's my subject. Now, some of the ones that I've done over the last couple of years are these little fellows here. As you can see, they're in quite small pots. Now, the subject I've chosen, this fellow here, is a variety called Asa Tamukayama. They think it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, maple cultivar or variety in the world. It was created in 1710 in Japan. Now, all of these plants here were also in 6 or 8 inch pots, the same as this one here. The thing is, you just have to be brave. You have to understand that the understock is super tough. But first, we've got to get rid of all this soil. Okay, now for the big operation. You need a good, sharp pair of secateurs. So what I'm doing is reducing the root ball by around about 3/4. Yes, it's almost like a short back and sides, isn't it? Yes, I've removed a lot of roots. Let's find the pot. Now, from this selection that I have left, without taking any more roots off, oh, that one's close. That one's too small. Oh, I think that one is just perfect. Now, if we look at the shape of the curve of the trunk and the weeping habit, I think that's about it. Now, you can use regular top-quality potting mix, but I think it's a bit chunky, so I like to make my own. It's a combination of coir peat, coarse river sand, which is really, really coarse for drainage. And this is regular potting mix, top quality red ticks, but I've actually sieved it out and removed all these chunky bits because they're taking up space for my roots, which are really important to regrow from my maple. It's roughly 1/3 each. And then just mix it all up with your hands. Okay, now, as you can see, there are holes in the bottom of the pot. So I need to cover those over. Just a bit of fly screen or a bit of shade cloth will do. Stop the soil falling through. And then a handful of soil on top. And then sit our little fella back there. Then it's just a case of backfilling it with your homemade soil mix. But it's important to get that soil compacted onto the roots. Get that little edge in there. Now, the reason I left the little channel on the edge of the pot there becomes obvious when I start to put on the pot topping. Now, this may not be the rigidest thing they do in Japan, but I find it's really handy just to keep the moisture in the pot. And then gently, slowly water it in. Now, remember, these are not indoor plants for other than maybe an hour or two. They're outdoor plants, and you might need to water them every single day. Well, there you go. Another one added to my collection. Give it a go this weekend. It's a lot of fun.